Test 1 2, test 1 2. And I am live. I believe. Let me just check my levels here. All right. And I think I'm live now. I didn't really get a chance to update my intro just because I've been kind of running around the last couple of weeks. But I want to thank you all for joining me. This is Nate Dillon from DigiFX, and we are going live today. We are live at this moment. And if you've been following me the last couple of weeks, thank you for taking the time. But yeah, it's been kind of a crazy, kind of hectic couple of months, if not a year, in terms of my personal development and growth for my company and just getting a hold on everything that I'm doing here. But I wanted to catch you guys up a little bit what's going on within my company, DigiFX, what we're doing, what kind of stuff I've been working on, and projects underway. So like I said, I wanted to do something a little bit more extravagant for my live stream, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-record this tomorrow when I have some stuff built out in terms of some like more visuals. But the big news is that I launched a new application launcher last week, and so I want to walk you through that. I was actually trying to save it out from my air here and put it onto the PC in front of me so we can do a little bit of work. I have to upload the Windows version. It doesn't seem to be working when I download it. So I was going to walk you guys through that and what that's all about and what that entails. But my little magic stick here, which I call my magic stick, which is this M2 drive, is full. So I'm out of space, so I have to just take care of that real quick. But I hope you all had a very good Thanksgiving. It came really fast this year, didn't it? And really what it comes down to is this: when you stay busy, things just kind of pass you by, and it's really hard to keep up with everything at once. So, let's see, I guess the news here. But, so I wanted to share with you kind of some news and what's happened. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, I was down in New York City, and I was pitching some of the stuff we're working on at DigiFX. Now, if you're wondering how you can find all of this streaming afterwards, you can go to stream.digistudios.live, or of course you can just go to digifx.com, and the immersive broadcast link should direct you to this. This is temporary. It will eventually go to something new, but for now, this is just all the live streaming stuff that I have in play, along with my other sites. This is Experience Over Media. This is just Aware. This is a lot of our AI chatbot stuff, and then MoPhase is just like application development. But if you click on this right here, this will bring you to our stream.digistudios.live, and from there you can do what you have to do. So, like I said, I was hoping to be able to open up my application launcher with you guys today and do a little work on it and just walk you through it. But you know, whenever I try to transfer this stuff between Mac and PC, I always get a bunch of nonsense in my hard drive. They don't play nicely, and maybe someday the companies can get over themselves and just make it easy for me. But in the meantime, I wanted to share with you some fun news. So I was down in New York City in Manhattan at the ASET event, which was a lot of fun, and I was pitching some really cool things. So I did some recordings, or some pitches, I should say. And so if you go to stream.digistudio.live, you can find these just by going down here, and there should be an image there. But you can see we're actually showcasing the stream here. But if you go to the library here, I have a few different pitches I've done. So this is me. I did this last minute, these pitches, and I'm going to just pause these real quick. And I really wing these scripts, and I was just trying to get as much as I could out. I had a deadline, and I ended up recording 3 2-minute pitches, one for DFX, one for Experience Over Media, and of course one for Proto Initiative. And I tried to dress up and make it seem like it's 3 different versions of me. My keying isn't the best here, but you know, like I said, it was last minute, and it was with the green screen behind me. So you know, the pitch was a lot of fun. I'm not sure how many people saw the pitches, but I did have a lot of traction in terms of interest, in terms of companies for partnerships, along with some people to help me roll this out. And so really where we are in terms of the whole DFX, the iPass stuff, is I'm integrating the next phase into our authentication method. So again, I'm sorry for kind of doing 2 things at once here, but I can't seem to export or eject my disk, because it's in use, even though it's not in use. So that's kind of an annoying thing on my Apple side that I wish would be updated. Again, it's because I work between all these different computers, and I find that a lot of time I have issues with my M2 drive on my beautiful little new computer here. But this is my Air. I've been using this a lot. I love this computer. It really is the best of all worlds. It's so light, it's small, it's compact, and it really brought a lot of the older aspects of my original MacBook back into it in terms of what was good about it, along with some of the stuff I see in my the newer versions of the Mac Pros. So I've been using it a lot, and I've been doing a lot of my work really on this small little computer. And all my my big PC here, I work on do streaming like events like I do now. However, I really find that it's overkill, and I don't really have to do it. So I'm just trying to copy over my DigiFX server, which is 8 gigs, and part of the reason why we're in issues is because I guess I don't have 8 gigs left on this. And by doing so, I'm able to open this up and share with you guys what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that you should never do. I'm just going to yank that out against its will, and the Apple's not going to like it very much. But, or I should say the MacBook. But my PC doesn't really give a crap. It will just basically say, oh, there's a problem, let's scan and fix it. And we will do that, and we'll open it up. And I believe I have a version of this that I can show you guys right now, or at least get it open up. We can start playing around with it. So the goal today is to really talk about briefly this application launcher I'm working with and what it really entails, and what it's all about, what it's used for. And what it comes down to is I need to authenticate a lot of the stuff I've been working on, and I'm also migrating a lot of what I've been working on into this interface that I can use for a lot of different components that I'm building. So the iPass stuff, the DigiFX, the immersive broadcasts, and I needed a way to authenticate everything, or essentially create an umbrella to sign in and use everything else. So I got this idea from all my Blizzard Entertainment game days, and if you guys don't know Blizzard, they make a lot of classic videos from StarCraft to Warcraft to a lot of other things. They're now owned by Microsoft, or Activision, which was just purchased by Microsoft. But I wanted to make like a Blizzard style launcher. So if you download this, you notice it kind of has a little look and the feel of what that can be in my own means. Now I just launched this. It's you can't really authenticate into it because I haven't given access. I'm basically just creating the framework around being able to do this in the future. And the goal is just to have this downloadable, update it, and then be able to sign people in on a authentication level, which then syncs into all the different stuff that we're working on. And that really is the goal for me. So let me see, just open up my future Magic Stick here, and I can show you what I'm talking about. So while I do this, just talking about my pitches, so I had a lot of fun in Manhattan. I was there for about a week, and I met some really cool people, some of which are really excited about some of the stuff we're doing and the space theme and really the exploration, the unknown. And so you've been seeing me roll out a bunch of different small little campaigns. And today I launched my Operation Freefall campaign. And if you don't, my spiel behind what that really means is we're in this place of unknown in the world of uncertainty in terms of work, jobs, technology, especially the big tech. And, I'm just trying to do what I can with an unknown mindset of what comes next. And so a lot of a lot of the narrative behind what I'm creating is really the foundation is around stuff I love to do. However, I don't really know how it's going to play into the bigger picture. I just know that I really want to do it, and then I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to let other people tell me what to do. And the biggest thing I can tell you, if you're in a founder or you're in a startup world, never let big corporate tell you what you can and can't do, because people in big corporate atmospheres, there's nothing wrong with that. They worked really hard to get to where they are, but they don't really have the same mentality of foundership. They have a lot of resources and a lot of people to help them do stuff, and they're used to that. And if you're in a foundership kind of mentality, you don't really have anything. You don't really have any help. You're on your own. And so people are going to dismiss the amount of effort it takes to do something. It doesn't mean it's you can do it. It doesn't mean that it's not hard. However, you got to stick with things you really want to do, and that's the advice or the guidance I would give anybody that watches this stream that wants to do something against all odds. Make sure you listen to what is important to you and not what's important to anybody else. As long as you're practical about the goals to get there. So I've been really trying to do that. So if you just Google DigiFX here, you can see today I launched a bunch of new little ads, and I actually like to go to like Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, whatever you want to do, and to see it that way. It seems to be a little bit more easy to read. Usually this is black, but it seems to be white background. But we just go through this. I just did a bunch of new ads as I always do, and really it's just around the specific situation I'm in and how you can challenge the norm and be the best version of yourself. And so that's what, again, my goals are in terms of my production and development and creative ambitions I have for myself. So this launcher right here can be found by, if you go to our DFX site, and I can just go to digifx.com and maximize this. And what I did was, as I took the WebXR platform interface and I updated it to be a downloadable application. And the reason I did this was the web interface just was having problems loading. And honestly, I just felt like people wouldn't be patient enough to sit through it, and it really would not help do me justice in terms of what I was trying to accomplish. So I decided to create an application. This is a .app application. So it is, again, using the game engine to create this. It should be universal. However, I'm finding that when I download this in the universal, when I build it out from a Mac, I'm finding that the Windows version, the universal version, still does not open up. So I have to bring it into Windows and export it out that way. At least that's how I was going to do that today. And so while I talk here, I'm going to try to do that so I can show you how that's done, and maybe we can jump into Unity together and do that as well. But just give me a second to see if I have enough space on my feature stick here. All right, so it says I only have 2 gigs left, which is kind of sad. How did I fill this thing up so quick is what I want to know. All right, so master projects. You can't see that, but right here, I'm in my master projects here, and these are like basically the bread and butter behind a lot of the stuff I've been working on. And all right, so Oasis Core, some server backup. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I think there's some hidden files on here I can't see, so I have to go back on my Mac and erase them that way, which is kind of annoying, but we'll just do that. Start that. Okay. And let's see, my MacBook. Come on, Mac. It says it's in use, but it's not. It's really annoying. This is something I wish Apple, if you ever see this stuff, I wish you would fix this. It just thinks it's in use, but it's not. And I have to press continue 1,000 times for every single file. Like, I have to click it like 10,000 times. And I wish that wouldn't happen. I wish I could just push continue once, and it would just know that that's what I wanted to do. So I understand people want to go through every single file. However, when you're working with a lot of files in a folder, this is very tedious and redundant and kind of annoying. So love Apple, love Google, love Facebook, love everybody. So don't think I'm picking on anybody. Actually, it's kind of funny. right now what's going on. It's not funny, I mean, but like everybody's going after Tim right now. So Tim, you're playing the silent game towards Elon and Zuck, which I think is kind of interesting how they are calling you out and stuff, which, to each their own. Again, I try to be very neutral and against all the tech companies so that they know that I am trying to support and help them all any way I can. So I wonder if there's another way for me to save this over while I do this. All right. Okay, well, I guess what I can do is I can just drop it in Drive and then let it upload that way. It may take a quick minute, but I think while we stream, we can have that happen. So, if you come to our .com, or my .com I should say, and then you go to the platform, download, you will then see that you will see that you have two options, a Mac and a Windows download. So right now the Mac downloads, I'm going to work on the Windows one tonight, probably after the stream, just because I seem to be having issues with getting this in front of us here, and I don't want to just sit here trying to copy it over for the whole time. But yeah, so in this, it really just allows you to go through some aspects of what we're going to try to do with it, and then you can download it a few different places, and so that's pretty much there. Now, the application launcher itself, the goal with that is to create an authentication method, like I said, across all the different platforms I'm creating. So I've made a decision that I am going to try, like I said, try to utilize all 5 big technology companies within this somehow. I know there's more than 5 big ones, but the big 5 companies that are very publicly known, meaning Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon, and so essentially I'm going to try to figure out how I can benefit from using each one. So I was using Google authentication, and I made a very hard decision to migrate the authentication to AWS. And the reason being is I am working with individuals within AWS to help me facilitate a pilot or a proof of concept for this iPaaS integration system. And I want to enable or integrate a lot of their product API capabilities they have within the company with my own system. Now, this is hard because I really was looking forward to using Firebase, and I still may use Firebase in some aspects. However, I think what I want to do is I want to shift my integration or development to more of the hardware and mapping capabilities with Google, and focus on the product API on the Amazon side that will then funnel into the Google stuff. In terms of Meta, like integrating Meta into this, I'm also looking to utilize their social integration significance along with the hardware capabilities, same with Microsoft and same with Apple, using the different hardware. And in the upcoming weeks, if not months, I'm going to create a list of hardware initiatives I think every company should start building out. Meaning hardware that isn't really available that would be very feasible or useful for my broadcast, for my iPaaS system, to where you can put some money in the R&D for like in future use cases for that. And that's something I think each company can create, and just like they do now in terms of a lot of the wearables. And I will announce those as they go. And of course, Amazon can do that as well. But I think because I'm focusing on the cloud resources with them at this point in terms of the product API and the iPaaS system, that I will focus the hardware capabilities elsewhere to create an equal playing field or opportunity with all companies. And I think that's a fair way to do it. And so that's pretty much my game plan. I am spending the next couple of weeks to further integrate the launcher into what I've already created, and also rolling out a lot of the mapping capabilities along with the immersive broadcast and the iPass. And the proto stuff's kind of on hold right now. However, I am building out a proto rover in the upcoming weeks. So the campaign push today, which again, I think I'm going to re-record this tomorrow when I have this all figured out, so it's a little bit more smooth, is to showcase this unknown kind of development phase that I'm going through in both hardware and software for the stuff I want to do, with not knowing what tomorrow brings, like the Operation Free Fall, kind of free falling into something we don't know. So that's why I call it that. And when I do these campaigns, I really do them around like a narrative or a visual storytelling that I can actually bring people on a journey or ride at through different phases of marketing my company. And so that makes it a lot of fun. It's very easy. The ads are very easy to crank out. The videos aren't as easy, and obviously the development's not as easy, but the ads help play a storyline in terms of focus, in terms of where I can go next. Now, if you do have some interest in everything I'm talking about, I started sharing a master repository, and this is an updated version of our DigiFX repository I shared last year when I started announcing this stuff. That got me some traction in my space. So this updated version is, you can ask me for a link. It's a lot of people have this, but I don't just publicly put it out there. So if you are interested, reach out, happy to share it. But this basically takes a lot of different aspects of what I've been doing and builds it out in further detail. So we are iPass. We have our and the iPass is the main thing right now. The Zom Experience Over Media. And then so we have our DFX stuff, which is something newer, along with our proto. So you can see the Experience Over Media is first because a lot of what I'm doing is really that, and the DFX is really funneling into that. And so how I tried to lay this out for the game plan in 2023 is if I click on this top part here, and I try to actually turn this to white paper, but I ran out of time, as you can expect. You're constantly chasing time in this line of work. And so I have 3 initiatives: our DFX, our Experience Over Media, and our proto. And they all segue or roll into one another. So our DFX immersive broadcast is a way to onboard users using a cinematic future film-like experience that then funnels them into the iPass system or the Experience Over Media experience, to where you can have these broadcasts and then have integrate a lot of products. And then of course our proto hardware is how you deliver it, and it's very dynamic and flexible in terms of how we make that happen. So that is pretty much the foundation of my strategy moving forward. And so in the next couple of weeks, what I'm doing is I am focusing on the authentication with pretty much the top 2, DFX and Experience Over Media, with AWS, and the authentication with the Google Cloud, because I already have that working with this social stream that I have for Experience Over Media, which is like an Instagram clone. Now, I don't want to create something that's going to create... I don't think it's realistic to think I can create a competitive social stream, nor do I really want to. I don't really want to get... I see what's going on with Twitter and Elon and Instagram, and obviously the narrative between all the different companies. I don't want to be the guy to do that. I mean, maybe if someday I'm successful in some area, I can hire a bunch of people to sit there and yip at each other's ankles, but I don't really have any interest in competing with anybody in that nature. I'm just trying to create stuff I like to do, and I'm trying to create opportunity for different things. So the social stream I built into this is really just a proof of the authentication method works, and I may bring some of that into the AWS side of it, or I may just still use it within Firebase, which is what I'm using. I don't really know yet. I haven't really thought about it too much. My goals are really focused more around completing or following through what I was sought out to do within my experience over media stuff, right? And so, my pitch deck right here, all the stuff I talked about, and that's actually a DFX one. So, this onboarding process is going to allow for me to really focus how to bring people in from an experience that's like a video interactive experience in the launcher or on the site into the iPaaS system. And I think it's a good strategy to have moving forward. So that's what we're going to do. Now, the challenges that I'm facing is I am extremely worn thin, and I need help in a lot of different fields and a lot of different areas of in what I'm doing. And so I'm going to be looking for a left and right hand man or woman in the upcoming weeks as well. And I have some people that are interested, that have expressed interest in terms of helping me out, that I need to follow up. I have to follow with about 100 people that I've met over the last couple of months with emails, with next steps. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I have 100 follow-ups and 100 different emails I've got to write with partners with specific interests in terms of people helping me internally, while I continue developing this stuff out, and while I continue promoting my brand and all the advertising, all that. So that's kind of the position I'm in right now, and it's hard. It's really hard because I don't have enough time in the day to do all of it, and so I have to zip through stuff very fast. That's why you see kind of stuff happening now where I can't get my stream all in place because I haven't had time to really think about it. I actually took a nap before this, to be honest, 2-hour nap, so I could have some energy to do this, and that's the realistic nature of when you're in my position of what it takes to kind of make this stuff happen. So, but the beauty about what I've set up for myself in terms of this broadcast medium and my infrastructure and the foundation of my company is that I can re-record this stream tomorrow and replace it and update it so that the link goes to that instead. So I can kind of screw around now, articulate my timing, and I probably will actually, get off in a couple of minutes and just, again, call it tonight. But I can articulate my timing to where I can show that I'm consistent and then update it with the better stuff. And so that's what I do really from a working methodology and everything. All of this stuff on this list is updatable, and people can click the links and it goes to the latest version, along with applications or anything. And I can continue building it out without having to resend links out. And that's very crucial in terms of keeping people interested and engaged, and also constantly updating and fixing your mistakes. So you will have mistakes, and there are a lot of mistakes that I've noticed all the time when I move too fast. And so that's why we kind of slow down and check ourselves one step at a time. So that's just basically a little bit of information on the kind of how my work ethic is. But I wanted to just touch base with everybody, showcase what we're doing. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to have a chance right now to open the launcher, but I will tomorrow during the day re-record this, and it will be available. So if you watch this link, if you see this tomorrow, you'll see the launcher and I can show you how it's working. But essentially, if you're on a Mac right now, and you can try on your PC, maybe I'm just not opening it correctly. I didn't really try it that much because I've been building on my Mac. But you can come here, you can check it out, and the application launcher is a lot of fun. It's got a lot of cool sound effects, and I could probably just show you here real quickly how it works. What I love about it is actually it's like a real app that I built. Or just like, so there we go. It just opens up, does a little loading there, and it has this little, this async loader screen, which I'm gonna add some stuff in there. And I want to license some audio. I had some audio in here, but then I realized that the audio itself probably would get me flagged for copyright, so I took it out. But you can see I just have 6 little tabs, and
future of film.
And it has this little narrative there.
User profile.
And
immersive product anchoring system.
It has some video background, so it's very, very visual, very pleasing.
Experience over media.
And I like it a lot. And so it's really been a lot of fun for me to create that. And I think that's the key to anything you build. Enjoy the process of building it out and making it something you enjoy, and you'll keep on making it better, and you'll continue to grow it and not think about, again, that what time it is or how long you've put into it. Just keep on going for it. And so tomorrow I am going to do probably a follow-up to this live stream of some live updates on the Windows side of this. I'll be in front of my workstation like this, and I will do some work tomorrow during the day on the launcher, and then we will start prepping it for the migration authentication into AWS or Google Cloud, whatever I use moving forward, along with the other stuff that I'm working on. So that is pretty much what's happening in the remainder of 2022 is we are going to set up the authentication and prep this launcher for the new year. And in 2023, we're going to start integrating a lot of the systems I've been working on the last year and the partnerships on a computer experience side. Now, on a mobile initiative, I have a iPhone and I have my Pixel here, which this is something I got from my Google Home. And Google's constantly wants to know my feedback on what I think of this. And Google, all I got to tell you guys is you guys are very close to my heart. I love you very much as a company. And these two companies are very much a kind of person I am. They're both tech giants in their own sense. One, the tools I've used in my life, I'm so thankful for what Google's given me in terms of the opportunities and tools. And same with Apple. Apple's been very good to me in my career as an entrepreneur. So it's very hard for me to answer which one I like better. I will say that this is my iPhone is kind of my personal everyday thing, and I've made this my executive private line for my business where I give this line out to very few people, so very selective. My professional kind of phone line. Unfortunately, the scammers and all the hackers and all the people still somehow get my number and still send me crap. So I don't know how why that is, we haven't figured that out. But we should really figure out how to get people overseas from constantly spamming us. And whatever network you're on, whether it's Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, or this is a Google Fi thing. So whatever network we're on, we should, as a whole, as a society, we should figure out how to stop that from happening. And I'm not one to hear excuses as answers. I'm not one to be reactive to stuff. I'm trying to be proactive and find solutions in problems. So to tell me, well, there's no way in doing it, if you're able to develop something that's able to spoof a number and hide behind a VPN, you're able to create a system that is able to double check that spoofing that VPN. It's just somebody has to go out and develop it. So I don't know, maybe someday that's something I can work on, but I unfortunately I'm not able to answer my iPhone anymore because I get so many spam and people trying to trick me and take advantage of me on this number. I don't answer this phone at all. So even with caller ID, the people that call me, I usually just let it go to voicemail, or I wait for an email, or I wait for a text. But even texting has gotten, most of my texts are all fake spam accounts. So so if you do call me and I don't answer, I'm not ignoring you. I just can't really use this phone anymore on a everyday level because it's gotten so bad. And unfortunately, there's nothing I can really do about it. I just kind of stopped answering. I actually leave my phone on silent, and I just don't even bother anymore. So those two devices, what I was getting into before I lost train of thought, is the focus in terms of how we're going to launch the iPass system. I've showed you guys the iPass system in action on my iPhone using the payment processing from the Anchor system, and that's something I'm going to roll out in the Android as well. And the reason I've been moving very slowly in all of this is I've been trying to calculate every move that I make to be precisely or to make sense in terms of what I'm doing, so that I don't lose traction along the way in terms of a lot of my focus and excitement in my personal endeavors and what I'm trying to do here. So I've really stepped back from furthering the next steps in the iPaaS on the mobile system because I've been trying to start at a very high level authentication method coming to all these devices. So when I can authenticate to mobile, to a website, to a computer, and it all is just an umbrella. And that's how we see a lot of systems do it, and that's really what I think has to come next. So that has been my pivot or my change in my development strategy. It's specifically around just focusing on the web authentication methodology that I can then integrate into hardware across the board. Because keep in mind, a lot of what I'm working on is a future case scenario where we're going to have wearables or an array of hardware I have not mentioned yet that's going to be able to utilize this iPaaS system. And so in the next couple of weeks, or maybe in January 1st, I will announce like the hardware I'm going to roll this stuff out into. And it will not just be phones and computers, it'll be wearables, it'll be a lot of other things I bet people aren't thinking about we can utilize this for on location or in your home or in a public place or in a store or anything. There's a lot of different ways to get that information displayed and portrayed in a meaningful way. And so I'm just creating the methodology of how to flow the data from what we have here, what we know, right, what's available, to where we're going with it in the future. So really it would be like this. This is what we know, this is where we're going. So take the information here and get it up here. Pull from Amazon, put it somewhere else, pull from somewhere else, get it over here. And so that's my goal as a creator, a developer, a founder. Somebody's going to envision something cool for the future. It's really around the foundation of adding value to other companies. And so I hope I can do that for all the major tech and all the small third parties and anybody that's interested in this space. I don't believe it's going to be as simple as that. I think anybody that watches or hears me speak about my work will immediately say, oh, that's a good idea. If there's something in there that's a good idea, and they'll go do it themselves internally. So I'm wary of that. I'm not really scared anymore of sharing my ideas because I think ideas are meant to be shared and the big picture stuff will find its place and be put into perspective. And the world needs more individuals to help further these goals than it needs companies to just build them out and just create these big monopolies or empires, which we see happening. Now, I'm not going to get political, and I'm not going to say anything hurtful towards all the firings that have been happening. I'm sorry that for the people that lost their jobs. I think what we see happening, we see a transition in the workforce to where we're streamlining what needs to be done and what's feasible and realistic, and transitioning people's responsibilities from one place to another. So what I'm trying to create opportunity for people that may have not thought about these things. And so in front of me here are thousands of different jobs, if not tens of thousands of different opportunities across the board in my immersive automation process, which is all these platforms. And I hope if I can create a successful, roll out a successful concept, that I can get people to help me build it out someday. And so if you're in the 3D space, in the media space, if you're in the e-commerce space, if you're in the hardware initiative space, and you have excitement for this stuff like I do, please hit me up. And please don't hesitate to talk to me about your interest and what you're doing. I'm always looking for help. I'm always looking to try to further my own knowledge along with giving some perspective and knowledge back to anybody interested. And I think that's a key thing in life, is that you share willingly with nothing in return. That's a huge, huge, huge value I hold deep to me. And so I'm going to leave it at that. If you guys want to reach out, you can reach out to me at nate@digifx.com. or of course you can hit me up on some social media. You can write me on my site. Tomorrow I will do a follow-up development phase of the launcher in action. It will be a lot of fun. You can see behind the scenes of what that's like, and we can kind of work together on what should happen and what shouldn't happen in that. I'm just seeing where we are on the syncing, so it looks like it's syncing to my my cloud file. So it shouldn't be a problem tomorrow. So I will probably just go live and update the link. So if you just come back tomorrow at some point, you can see where I am with that. Otherwise, you can watch this stream here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should share with everybody before I call it. All right, well, we got about 9 minutes left. I guess I'll stream an hour. So let's see. I have my launcher I talked about. I have my pitches I talked about. I have my, let's see, my repository. I guess I can talk about the rover for a second. So for those of you who know me, you know I am a big gadget guy. I always try to tell people I try to live life a little bit like Indiana Jones and like James Bond. I know it sounds kind of silly, but I love gadgets, and I just bought a Ninja Foodie, which is like the gadget of like ovens, and it's just like it's right up my alley. So I love hands-on. I love getting my hands on hardware, building stuff, and I'm not so much of a hardcore developer as in I had to learn how to develop to create visual stuff and creative media, but the media technology hardware guy in me is what thrives, and it pushes me to be more software oriented and thinking like, you know, a software mind state, because obviously to connect a lot of that creative you have to communicate with each other and do certain functions and states and phases across the way. So what I'm getting at is I am creating a rover using the same flight controller and network communications technologies I did with my drone. Now, I didn't really showcase much of the drone. I built it, I got it flying, but I found that my time and energy putting into trying to make it fly properly and deliver stuff was not worth the effort of calibrating it to make it like work. There was nowhere to fly it in the city. I would have to travel outside of the city to even test it, and it was really challenging. And so I'm going to take the same system but to use a rover, because I can use a rover anywhere. It's just like having a bicycle or a scooter or anything. I can just test it in all over the city. And so we're going to take the same methodology with that I did with the drone and build a custom deployment delivery rover, part of my modular deployment system of our proto initiative. And I'm trying to figure out the scale. Now, I will say this. I want it to be, so I want it to be third of the size of a real car. And so was something that's very interesting I'll talk about for a second is when you look into the RC world and you look into the autonomous delivery vehicle world, there's a big shift in price and also the capacity of the serious nature of what it entails. I find that the RC world is very much kind of nerdy and more into like racing the cars around, like you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, and like, but you know, most of these guys that build these RCs, they just want to drive them around and race each other and do stuff like that. I'm more interested in the capacity of the practicality of the business model around what it can do, and also the how it can facilitate some kind of job or some kind of function, right? That's autonomous. And so when you get into the autonomous guided vehicles or AGV world, the components kind of drive themselves. There's a lot more regulations and specifications in place so that they are safe and they're efficient, and they really utilize a lot of these communication navigation systems rather than just having a remote. And the point I'm getting at is that the RC world, I was going to build a rover based off of an RC chassis and all the controls because it's so available. But the RC world has only got up to 1/5 size, or they really are only rolling out 1/5. and 1/5 sizes of the real thing have become like the standard for them. And it's still kind of a toy. It's still like only this big. So I'm really looking at the 1/3 scale size stuff. And 1/3 scale size is really where it starts to get serious and where it starts to become a professional kind of autonomous vehicle. And so I'm gonna have to custom build a frame. I'm gonna have to custom build everything, and I'm not sure a lot of the servos I have are powerful enough for it, but I think that's the way to go. I'm gonna do carbon fiber, use carbon fiber sheets, along with an aluminum frame probably, just because it's cheaper to kind of put it together, and get some really nice tires, like some go-kart tires or something like a golf cart or something like that, and then use my my cube system to actually create this autonomous driving capabilities. What's really cool about it is that I have my control box, or my ground station box I created for the drone, that I can reuse for the rover, and that's going to allow for me to unpack, tap into my laptop, tap into the controller, have a redundant system to where I have HD video, dual HD video, I should say, that streams up to 10 miles away or whatever line of sight is. And so it's very exciting for me because it's going to be a lot more realistic to use in the city. And you don't have to worry about weight limitations as much when you're putting all this stuff on there. You also have to worry about crashing and destroying thousands of dollars worth of hardware and cameras. You don't have to worry about theft. And you're always going to have to worry about theft anytime you're driving around something. But, I don't plan on just sending it off into oblivion on its own yet. So that's the plan for the rover. I'm going to do a 1/3 size scale autonomous delivery vehicle. And this is going to allow for it to fit within a bike lane or some kind of side lane parallel to the transportation lanes that are meant for transportation or passenger vehicles. And so my strategy with the proto stuff is really to align it where a lot of the bigger agencies are going with passenger vehicles in parallel, so that it can be, as Tesla and all these autonomous vehicles develop something further, I can do the same with some kind of delivery system that travels parallel in bike lanes and city ordinates. That is really hard. Now, the challenges with all of this obviously is tracking. I always say, well, what if there's like a double parked car, or there's like a guy, the garbage man is picking up the garbage and they double park, or anything like that. The rover has to know to stop. And so there's going to be a lot of testing underway in terms of the sensors. So I haven't really thought about what kind of sensor capabilities I'm going to have on it. I'm just using and seeing what's already out there and been done with a lot of the partners I've established to make sure there's set standards in terms of a lot of sensors. Now, the tracking systems themselves, we all see how they track specific objects. And so the database that I create in terms of like kind of the image tracking and recognition will be something I probably pull that's already readily available and try to build into these systems. So I don't really know what's going on with that. To be honest, that level of complexity in the hardware development is kind of in the future. I'm not really thinking about. I'm just trying to build the rover and getting it working with my system, my iPass system, and not really worrying about image tracking or sensing or autonomous driving at that point. I just want it to be able to give it a clear route, point A to point B, and get my iPass system to communicate with it. And that's really the first steps here. So that's pretty much it. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the next few months, and I'm just really, really happy I can bring you guys along for the ride. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And whether you're into hardware, whether you're in software, whether you're in broadcast or e-commerce, there's an opportunity for you to work with me, and I encourage you to reach out and really, tell me what you want to do, where you think we're going with a lot of this stuff in the future, and how would you like to play a part in it, and maybe there's a chance for us to work together at some caliber. And so I'll leave it at that. I want to wish you all a very happy holiday season. I hope you had a very good Thanksgiving, and please, continue checking up on what I'm doing, and look for a live stream tomorrow within our launcher, and you can see it in action. That's it. Till next time, guys. Take care.